Hello, and welcome to Xtreme DIY, brought to you by 80/20. Today's segment will be the first in a 4-part series dedicated to in-home solutions. Our in-home series has something for everyone. A coffee table with matching end tables, a bookshelf, a drawing table, and an entertainment center. In today's segment, we'll tackle a coffee table and matching end tables. These two builds complement each other perfectly and share a lot of the same attributes. Both feature closed-face profiles that prevent dirt and grime buildup, making them easy to clean. Slanted trays allowing for quick and easy access to reading materials, a sleek black anodized finish for a modern aesthetic look. And lastly, as with all 80/20 products, they're fully customizable to suit your needs. Now before we begin, we want to point out that this video is a general overview on the assembly steps on how these two builds come together. You can download a full step-by-step guide along with design files and much more for free at 8020.net.
So, as with any build, our first step is going to be making sure that we have everything organized. We're going to verify that we have all of our parts and pieces, and also make sure that we have the proper tools for assembling our solution.
That's right. Now for this build, we're going to use 3 different hand tools. We're going to use a 3/16 hex wrench, a 1/4 hex wrench, and a pair of cutters to cut our panel gasket to length. And lastly, as an optional finishing touch, we're going to fill the unused T-slot space with dowel rods. They're purely aesthetic, and you can pick them up at your local hardware store.
Now, when it comes to building the coffee table, we're going to split it into 2 halves, and then join them together at the end for our finished project. The first part that we're going to focus on are going to be the sides. For our first section, we need to make sure that we have one of our long bars and 2 of our miter cut bars. The first step we're going to do is take our miter bar, loosen the hardware, slide it into position, and then we'll be ready for our inside corner connectors.
Now for these connectors, we're still going to connect 2 bars together, but we're also going to use it to rest our top panel on this flat surface. So when we're ready, we'll just slide it into the open T-slot. We'll get this half flush with the end of the bar, and we'll tighten it down with our wrench.
Now while Andrew's tightening that down, we're going to work on our legs. We're going to take our leg, slide it into the miter bar, and get it lined up.
Now once he gets that on, we'll get the 2 ends of the miter bar flush and we'll tighten it all down. From there, we'll just repeat the process on the other side. Now once we have both legs into position and tightened down, we'll move on to our side bars. Now for the top one, we'll slide it right onto the inside corner connector. We'll take an anchor fastener and slide it into position, and then we'll tighten down both fasteners with our wrench.
Once we have our top supports in the position, we're ready to add our base support. For that, we're going to take the support, slide it into the joining profile using an anchor fastener, and position it so that it matches the top portion of the miter connection, and then we'll tighten that down. Now, we elected to go with close-sided profiles because they give us a smooth, sleek finish, and they also help keep out dirt and debris.
Now once we have all the sidebars on and tightened down, we'll go ahead and repeat the process and build the other half of the coffee table without the sidebars. From there, we'll be ready to join the 2 sides and start wrapping up this project.
Now we're ready to join our 2 table sides together. To make this process easier, we've left this table on its side. Now these angle bars are going to serve 2 purposes. 1, they're going to act as a support for our table, and 2, they're going to hold these panels, which are going to act as a magazine rest.
All right, so once he has those in there, we're going to take the other half of the coffee table, we'll flip it on top, we'll drop these inside cord connectors into the side supports, and also drop our panels into the open T-slot.
And once we're done with that, we'll tighten everything down, and we'll be ready for some finishing touches. Our table is almost complete. All that we need to do now is add a few finishing touches. To start, I'm going to be placing these end caps on the top and bottom of our legs.
Now while he's doing that, I'm going to install some panel gasket. It's going to fit right between the T-slot and the panel, cutting down on noise and vibration. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 strips for each panel, and once we're done with all this, we're ready to move on to our end tables.
Well, our coffee table is now complete, with the exception of the top panel, which we left off to help make transporting into the living room just a little bit easier. Now we're going to build 2 matching end tables. The end tables will build similar to the coffee table in that we're going to split them into 2 halves and then join them together at the end. The first part we're going to focus on is the outside edge featuring the miter.
So like the coffee table, we'll start with a crossbar and we'll install our inside corner connectors. They're going to work the same way they did for the coffee table as both a fastener and a panel support. So we'll go ahead and slide them into the end of the T-slot, get them lined up, and we'll tighten them down with our wrench.
Now once we're finished with that, we'll be ready for the legs. All we need to do is slide them in with the anchor fastener, move them into position, and then we'll be ready for our miter bars. Okay, now that we have that done, we're ready to slide on our miter bar. We'll just simply make sure that the T-nuts are in the T-slots, and we'll slide the bar into position. Once we have that done and tightened down, that side of the table is complete, and we'll build the other side by mirroring the same process.
Now once we have our two sides built, we're ready for our top supports. So we'll just slide them onto the inside corner connector, finish it off with an anchor fastener, and then we'll tighten it all down with our wrenches.
Now, just like our coffee table, we have a plastic panel that we'll be inserting into our miter bar that's going to act as a magazine rack. Once we have that into place, we'll be ready to mount the other side of our table. Now that we have our frame mostly complete, we're ready to add on our last bars. All we need to do is take our support bars and slide them up to match with our miters, and then tighten everything into place.
Now while he's doing that, I'm going to add some finishing touches by adding some end caps to the top and bottom of our legs, and also add some gasket to our panels to cut down on noise and vibration. Once we have all of that done, we're ready to move our tables into the living room and add the top panels.
Well, as you can see, we have our coffee and end tables inside, positioned, and we're about ready to install our top panels.
Now before we do that, we're going to add some extra support to our top panel by using a socket head and a T-nut. We'll just drop it on the inside T-slot. So we'll just give that a quarter turn, and then we'll tighten it down from there.
Now once we have that done, we're ready to install our top panel. To do that, we'll simply position the panel, putting it into the recess where it will be supported by our inside corner connectors. Well, that just about wraps up this segment of 80/20 Xtreme DIY in our in-home solutions series. We hope that you found this video useful. For other helpful tools, drawing files, a project plan, and much more, please visit 8020.net.
Now we hope you've enjoyed this segment of 80/20's Xtreme DIY, and we look forward to seeing you again next time. But until then, thanks for watching, and as always, make it a great day.